And hello, everyone. This is episode number 5 of How We Grow, where we explain week after week everything we're doing to grow Kai, our AI executive assistant product that handles meetings, emails, calendars, and so on. Last week, we covered the branding system that we built for Kai, how we worked with Dave, and we started not only creating a brand that conveys specific emotions when you look at it, but also how we turn that into a system that we understand, but also our agents understand and they can execute on. And after building this branding system, Lambert has started doing some foundational design work on the website. And especially this week or the last 10 days, Lambert, you've been really pushing hard on this. And this is what we're going to cover. Like everything design related. You're going to show us also what it is that you made, but also let's try to understand like the reasons why we decided to go for this design project. We could have stick to what we had before, and any learnings that you've had along the way. Sounds good?
Sounds good.
So first question, how was it? You started this probably around 10 days ago. Like maybe a few words describe the general feeling of the project.
Yeah, the project was longer than expected because of lot of, let's say, lot of quick tasks that I didn't plan well and didn't deep dive on. But yeah, the project so far run pretty well, but it take as you say, 10 days, and we was expecting maybe like more 4 or 5 day max. And yeah, now we are pretty happy with the result. It's not live yet, but we are pretty happy. I learned a lot of things regarding how we work on those kind of design projects, because it's way different than just create a website on a random CMS and then apply just a design system that someone provides you. So yeah, so far it's going well, but a bit longer than expected.
Okay. What's interesting is you were handed a branding system and you were tasked with like building extremely cool landing pages. But also like the design system had to be inferred from, we had this color, this mascot and so on, but we didn't really have existing blocks, or the ones that we had were extremely lame because they were built in 20 minutes during a hackathon. So yeah, you've had that whole job to do. Let's maybe take a step back and come back to the why. Like why the design work? Why now? What are the factors that happened that led us here, so that this week was the week to do the design?
Yeah. So basically, we had this old version since we start during the hackathon. As you say, it was just like a bit random page that we had a first knowledge base based on some ID iteration of what could be the final product. And from this knowledge base, we start to create those pages. But the true thing is, those page was not really related with the product 3 months later, like now, because the product iteration and features and different connection, integration changed because of how we work. We discover different things, and we change a bit the strategy around our product. So basically now the future pages are outdated, and that's why we are like, okay, now we start to have people are coming on the website from our different initiative. That can be a mailing campaign, SEO, whatever, social media, contact people, and we start to have people coming on our website as we say users. When you see a website from a SaaS, you want to discover a bit more before starting, so you deep dive on the future, on the work, the product. And here the problem is we have those future pages that's not lying, but have not the exact same messaging than we had on the product. So we decide to do it now and not wait too much because we have our product open as a beta. And we want to be sure that our website is aligned with the product regarding the information and the structure. And the other reason is, as we discussed last week, so we work with this guy, Dave, that work on the full design, and now the design of our footer pages and overall of our pages that we don't work on it since we have this new design is feel like a bit outdated and out brand, not in the same branding. And this is a big problem because we want to be sure that the experience for user is the same than when you start from the home page, or then you move to the footer page or whatever you want to see some comparison. We have to feel that this is the same website and every blocks have been imaged to make sure that the experience is good. And this is not the case right now. And that's why we think this is a good moment because of the different thing I explained, mostly because we start to have people that we onboard in the beta and in the product.
So there's both like the branding, which was new, and there's like the messaging, which was kind of outdated because the product grew faster than we could keep up the knowledge base up to date. Can you share your screen and show us what you've got, just so we can actually see it, and then we'll walk our way backwards and understand like what led you to some of the decisions and so on. Maybe you can just quickly share like the couple of features, feature pages, what it looks like, just for some visual references.
Yes, for sure, I can share. So basically now it's the very last version that I'm working on and we are about to release. So we didn't change the homepage yet, but it's the footer pages. So what we did is obviously change a bit what can Kai handle because we had a lot of footer pages and some of them didn't make that sense. And here we just talk with Jim and iterate on what can we improve. So this is the page that I already on my last version. What changed is basically the structure of our footer pages because before we had the calendar pages, we had action items that will be also back, but in different way. So basically, we when I was working on the design, I had a lot of rules to make sure that the design is aligned with all the pages and we don't have anything that feel weird between one or another page. We was able with the full design that build Dave create some nice animation like this, for example, and also what we try to do here is to create a real story and work a bit on the messaging for all the pages. So basically, my goal was to having Kai on the page as like the mascot that bring you during the whole experience. So for example, here we are on the meeting page, and in the meeting page, so we have this little summary of what can you do in Kai, and then you have this blog that show you what you can do before the meeting, then what can you do during the meeting, what's happened, and what's basically what's happened after the meeting, and then the follow-ups. And this is basically the structure of the pages linked with two things: the knowledge base that we work on with Jim to make sure this is fresh and this is aligned with what the devs are working on, and the design that we showed last week that Dave built for us regarding the mascot, the colors, the ambience, and everything basically with the branding. So yeah, and this have been replicated for the old pages. So emails the same. Here you will have this guy following you around the page, and this is the one that will save your back, a bit. So the cool thing is now we had the branding, and we can find thousands of inspiration in the web. So also what I did here, it's deep dive on a different website and check what are the best blogs that they have. And we was able then with Claude, our design system, and our knowledge base to create some cool blogs like this that lets people see what's happened when for example, they are literally sleeping. Guy is checking their inbox, and then okay, this mail need a reply, so I prepare a draft for my buddy. And same here. This is just an information. Kai prepare a little message regarding it for you. And yeah, so this is what's happening in the app. And again, this is what we have around the old filler pages. The result is good. I mean, pretty better than what we had before. We have the structure, we have the branding, and we will be able to a bit play with and make sure that everything is aligned. So the chat is basically the main thing that you will find, and you can ask anything. You can do any action from this chat. So still need some work. For example, here we have high memory that we are already working on it with André, and I am iterating on some other version of this blog to make sure that it's very clear for the users, but so linked with what we have in app, and make sure that it's not like the old future pages are a bit different with what we have in the product. And yeah, I think this is what we have now, and yeah, it's way different than when we had like before.
So you've shown now like the outcome, the output of what you're doing. Like you're still going to iterate a bit. And yeah, the whole idea was to rework the messaging, apply the new branding, and really like wow users, so that when we provide a really great experience on the website, people are kind of like, yeah, if this website is that good, the product must be that good. Let's go back a bit to the process of getting there. Like, what's the different steps that you go through from, the task is we decide we're going to do this up until now where you're doing a demo. I just want to very quickly highlight like how we work. You work in Cursor, where you have like your knowledge base, where you have a bunch of documents. You have also the app with the code base of the website that lives there. And then we host it on Vercel, and you do everything with Claude Code. Or actually not everything. I guess we'll find out now, but that's your setup. Now, what are the main steps? Like, what are the different topics or tasks that you will do beforehand, so that you slowly start building towards these fully designed landing pages?
Yeah, good point. So in this project, I didn't take it at the best way, to be honest. And this is a topic that we already discussed just together, but I didn't take it in the good way. So that's take me a long. But basically here, what was the different step? First of all is building the page experience. So challenging a bit the map of the website, being sure of what field pages do we want. If we want a page regarding how it's work, or regarding where the app will be available, so a bit more where it's work, the comparison pages, the resources. First things was, how did we redesign the nav bar and the mapping of the website? And this is an important topic, because I mean, especially for us, because we have a product that touch a lot of things that can be literally a calendar, email, your meeting, but it's also prepare. When you have the meeting, you also have like the meeting transcription, meeting notes, meeting brief. So you have a lot of things that the product cover, and it's very important to be sure that we are aligned on the scope before starting this kind of task. And also I didn't talk about, but then you have the integration, and we have the KMCP, we have the Slack Kai bot. So, there is a lot of things that the product cover, and we want to be sure that is aligned. We are all aligned with what we want, like with the user experience. on the website. So this is the first thing. And this is maybe not where we start, because at some point I start to build directly like a design system, which was not the good thing. But this is where it's for me the most important to start, build the user experience on the website and make sure the mapping is good, and we provide the messaging at the good moment. So I start to build a design system. But the thing is, when we was starting to build this website, we didn't follow the very good rules, and we create, let's say, not linked blocks component. That means you will have, for example, the home page, a footer page, and a free tool page. We'll have a FAQ style. But maybe you will not see it visually, but in the code there is 3 different styles. And for Claude is a fucking mess to manage this, because when you ask him to harmonize all of them, it will say, oh, okay, but I optimize this, and then I'm like, okay, but why you told me this is good and then it's not everywhere? We basically build a composite for each page because we was not aware about doing it, So this the second point that I was working on, it was the design system, but it take me a long time, and the result was not good enough, to be honest. That's why I park it at the very last step for now, because of this full flow that was a bit blur and a bit a mess, because of this first version that we was working on, and we was not aware about all of this. Cool.
So basically, you tried first to approach it from the design system angle, but I guess also like one of the problems you faced is a design system by default works for like everything, right? And I feel like a design system is great when you know what you want, but when you want to create like amazing feature pages and you want like full flexibility and custom design for each, I feel like it's very hard to build a design system. Like it nearly needs to come after. Yeah, like I think right now we're building a bit of a like a design depth where every block is individual on the website. Like we're not using components, and I think we're fine with it. Like we understand also the problem and we find our way around it. And so now, yeah, the solution is let's finish all the design, and once we've finished the design, we'll build a system on top of it and reconnect like the components. And so when in 1 month, when we change the CTA or when we change the like texture of a block, it's going to update all blocks that are similar at once. So if you were to create a website from scratch again, like let's say tomorrow, a new project, you build it from scratch, what would you do? Would you start with a design system, or would you start with cool designs and you figure out the design systems later?
There is 2 approach that we need to be sure that work and are fixed. First is like building a design system at the beginning is not a good way for us, because as you said, we want some very fancy blocks. So I think the best way, if we have to rework on this project, is making sure that we have, before starting this, clear rules on the title, on the CTA, on the what kind on the app, the pages of the website, and also some blocks that we will have every time on the website. For example, CTA block or FAQ, make sure that they are aligned. And then this is the little difference. We want to be free to create some Polish blocks and some really cool blocks. And this is the way that I was very wrong with when I start, because I was like, no, we need to have some blocks that I will be able to reuse everywhere. But in this case, if we have this, the website will look the same for every feature pages. But when you want to create a memorable experience, you need to be sure that the website looks good at every different page. You have the feeling that those guys iterate on this block and found very unique way to show to the people this feature. Yeah.
And do you think is there like a middle ground where when you work on the page, let's say you pick up a new feature page and you want to create like a custom block super designed for that, instead of designing directly inside the page, do you think you could design in a design system and then just import that onto the page so that you're kind of both building the design system, but you also make your page like as scalable and more resilient to changes in the future? Like, do you think that's a workaround?
Yeah. Funny because literally yesterday evening I was thinking about that. Just create a design system that lets me create literally blocks in it linked with what we have, and then create different blocks for different footer page and make sure they are aligned with the system, but also make sure that everything look good at the end. I think it's possible because there is another way. Just use Figma or Claude Design. But when I was using them, I was not very happy with the result and the way how it worked. So I think it's possible to create this kind of design system where you can create those blocks and then call them in directly in the footer page. It's probably the best way because in this case you can do literally whatever you want and it's more clear for Claude and also for you when you want to build a block. You don't have to explain thousands of things. You can just try to iterate with Claude and also draft something and then say, okay, this is for this page. So yeah, could be a good thing to develop maybe before create this whole project.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. And so you go through this first, like having a clear scope for what it is you want to achieve. And then you start building, you went through this design system and then back. And so essentially for now you've parked it, or maybe you're considering like doing it in parallel. And then you start building the page. Like, what does success mean to you? When you've got your first version or your fifth version, how many versions are you in? How do you test things so that you have, you can assess what's good and what needs to go away?
Yep. Good question. The thing is, I am this kind of guy that really want perfect things. So at some point it's good, but at other point it's a bit a mess because I can take literally 2 or 3 hours in only one block because the result don't look good to me. And it was definitely the case here. I had a lot of iteration that people will never see on different blocks. When I scroll the page, I need to have the aha moment at every point. If I have this feeling that the page is wow, awesome, then it's fine. I can go forward. But it was not at all points of this, and I can share a bit maybe my screen. Like for example, so we iterate on different looks for the website. And also here I can share with you, we was about releasing like a dark mode, but we do not. Maybe I have a better, maybe this one. Yeah. So here you can find maybe a more dark, not a dark mode, but a dark section, which could look good, but we need some more iteration and maybe rethink a bit the blocks. And so this is also a version, but we discussed with him about it, and we was like, maybe it could be interesting things to work on when we will have some lack time, and then say, okay, let's find the good middle between having a full light and a bit of darkness on the blocks, and make sure that maybe the match will be good, but we have to iterate on the way to bring this approach on our website. So we had this version, and also we had another version that was a bit more crazy. So we had the way more colorful version when we tried to literally take the whole color that we have in the brand system, and yeah. Here it's more it's some pink in the background, some blue in the block, some green, some yellow. So basically, this version was a bit more colorful, but we decided to say, okay, maybe it's too much, and it's not the way that we want to work on for this. So yeah. Also, for example, just to share with you, some things that you will never see. It's we also work in different color, and then different version of all the blocks. So yeah, it takes a long time to being sure about which block is cool and which one is not cool, and which one also create a value for Kyle. If the block didn't tell anything to users, that's useless for us. So yeah, it's a mix of a lot of things that I was working on and take the time, but no, I'm pretty confident with the result, the free-tool pages, because we have this structure and these blocks that will give us way more inspiration. And now it's going to be way more easier because we already have the messaging. Yeah, it's going to take also time, but it's not like super important because it's not those kind of page that will give to users the information to answer their problem.
And how do you deploy? Do you deploy all at once in Cascade?
Nothing is live yet on the website. I will deploy all the pages and all the redesign, the new navbar at the same moment. But before, I will need to be sure that there is no bugs, there is everything optimized. So basically what I did now, it's merge the main version of the website with the branch called website redesign, but just basically merge what the very last information that we have on the website with this redesign. And then what I will do is make sure in mobile it's look good, make sure the SEO, internal linking, and technical things are still good, and then the performances of the website still good, because here we have a lot of animation. We work with floaty, with a big plate of colors, so, and also images. So we need to be sure that the pages will be also optimized. And what I did right after that is creating those rules for the title, for the images, for the FAQ. When we use this font here that's called Monty, we want to be sure that is Kai talking. So for users, when they will see it's like Kai talking to us. So this is a rule that I implement to make sure that, okay, this is the rule that is everywhere on the website. We have this little effect, and you see like I read everyone. It's like Kai is talking to you. So this is for everything. I implement a rule for everything, also for appeals. Now we have only one appeals at the top of the pages if needed. We didn't have another. I don't know, a lot of rules. Same for FAQ. They need to look the same. Yeah. So at the end, I build all those rules and I run a full audit of the website to make sure that all those rules are good in the website and are aligned with what we write. And then, optimize everything. Everything will be pushed at the same moment. I will not push one page. Then when I finish it, I will push another one, because to be honest, it never come up to me to work in this way. It depends of your case, but I think it takes more time to push everything, and then at all different steps you run audits.
Okay, and so what are maybe the top 3 insights working on this project? that you'd take home, or you'd recommend someone?
The first one is create a clear step funnel, if I can say, like being sure about the like basically the roadmap of this project, because it was not the case when I start. I think it's the best way. And I had the discussion yesterday with our boss, David. I told him a bit the way that I was working on, and he told me, like, when you're blocked, just go to another project until you can have a valuable feedback from someone in your team. And I think it's very important, because at some point here, it was a problem for me. I was keep iterating on some things, but without feedbacks. And I was like, okay, maybe the version that I have now, it's good. Maybe it's too deep. Maybe it's very bad, and I need to rework not just the design but the structure of the blog or the messaging, and maybe just ask feedback is also a second point that is very important in this kind of project. I mean, overall in all projects, but also here, because you can go forward in the world and are not aware about that, and this is a big problem.
Yeah, good question. Yeah, I think we could have been clearer on the outcome. And I remember, yeah, we had a lot of discussions on like the architecture of the site, like from a navigation perspective, and I feel like maybe we didn't give that enough time. At the end of the day, like I took that document on my side, and then I laid it down and so on, send it back to you. So I feel like overall that went well, but I know you had been working already like a couple of days on some designs. Yeah, then there's the design system that you already mentioned, right? That this is something that you'd start earlier if you could have. What you mentioned with David, I think, is a good point. Like, nearly like on a project like this, especially with AI, when things move fast, you can nearly have like a daily touch point with a group of people, where every day at 5 p.m. It might even be like an automation. Whatever you're up to, it just like pushes a message on Slack with a link to the preview, and we click and we give feedback. And I think having that like close feedback loop might be valuable. But yeah, so this will see the light of the day in the next once you finish fine tuning everything and you merge. Okay, great. So yeah, that's all for episode 5. Design work, understanding the approach, the output, the reasons why we did it. We'll see you next week.
Yep. See you guys. Have a good week.